Welcome to another virtual water cooler. Just getting the live stream going on Facebook. I've got Mr. Whiskey joining me right out the gate, and
Yeah.
yeah, he's gonna share some stuff about his. I don't know if you saw his post in his media
Yeah. Did
circles.
you see
His
my
show.
my flex off with Tien Wong? You
I
saw
saw that. Yeah, I saw that. I saw
yeah.
you got ink on that bicep. Makes it look.
Oh yeah, I got a new tattoo the other day.
Oh
Um
wow.
yeah.
Uh
Yeah. I think my next tattoo, I'm gonna get this thing right here. This
oh.
I don't know what it is. I found it
Is
here in
that, is that,
Japan.
is
It's
that a
a fish, but it
manatee?
has no fins. Do you know what kind of creature this is?
If you know what it is, put a note in the
I don't
comments.
know. I thought it's a cooling like pillow thing. I found it at the store, yeah.
Oh, okay, okay,
We look
very
pretty
cool.
identical, don't we?
Yes, you look. Yeah, you got something in common there, except the fish doesn't wear a hat, a cowboy hat. So
What do you
tell
say
us.
that? What do you say that? It's so funny you should say that, Steve, because I did get a little hat for him, a little bucket hat.
Oh,
They have I was walking and they had a keychain section of bucket hats, and I was like, "Oh, that's so cute." Because they
okay,
wear a lot of bucket hats here.
okay, okay. That is.
There's a lot
I
of
I.
random shopping I've been doing in Japan. I got a kimono today, so yeah, that was a
That's
journey on its
crazy.
own.
That's crazy. How much longer? How much longer have you got there?
About 1 week. I fly out next Thursday afternoon, but
Okay.
then I
Oh,
go backwards in time because I land Thursday night in America.
yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. We're 14 hours in time difference away from each other
And
now.
the flight is,
It's
well, the flight back
bizarre.
is always faster, so it's like 11 hours, 12 hours.
Yeah,
Woohoo!
yeah,
I
yeah.
might be going to Malaysia for a physical fitness competition for Tian Wong, and I might do a high rocks. It'll be the Malaysia's first ever high rocks,
What's high
and
rocks? Explain what that is.
it's okay. I don't know how to explain it. I've
Okay.
never done it. It's a physical fitness competition, and from what I saw, I looked at one in Japan. I didn't want to do it in Japan because it's not like a 5K. I already had issues at a 10K race, let alone
Yes,
this
yes, because you couldn't
is
understand
a
the
sport.
instructions.
And this is why I didn't do high rocks. High rocks, I would have been disqualified.
Right.
There's a bunch of different physical fitness challenges. You have to go in a specific order, and everything's mapped out, and you could get disqualified. So for me,
Okay.
doing it in Japanese only was a no go. Malaysia, I have Tien there, so I think it'll be fine. It's like you run one or two laps around the perimeter. It's like an indoor course. They have a track, and then they
Yeah.
have different stuff, sled pusher pole, maybe ropes or different weight things. I haven't done it before,
Right.
but me and Tien are supposed to, we challenged each other. I don't know who challenged who, but we're supposed to arm wrestle. And this has been going on for 2 years. I haven't gone to Malaysia yet, obviously, to arm wrestle. And I bring it up because the flight there is 38 hours or 20 hours, or, it's over a day minimum. You have to
Right.
get like two
Right.
different flights to layover. So I told her, I was like, I don't know, because she's like, it's in December. I was like, ooh, that's right around the corner. And I looked,
Yeah.
and it's a 3-day long event. So it's like, well, maybe I'll fly in. And I was like, I'll probably give myself a day or two to get adjusted. And then it said it's going to take a day and a half, 2 days to get there, a day and a
Yeah.
half or 2 days to get back. I was like, well, I can't just
Yeah.
go for 3 days.
Yeah. That's
I'm traveling more than I'm going to be there.
being there.
But I'm
Yeah.
like, what? I
Yeah.
can't stay for all of December. That's Christmas time and stuff, which I'm sure Christmas in Malaysia is fine. It's just the fact that the cheapest
Yeah.
flight was $1,500. That's like why December? It couldn't be in like a month where no one travels. It couldn't be like
Yeah.
February or March, or like
Yeah.
something a little, yeah. But we'll see. We'll see. But the point is, you and I talk a lot about global connection, and it's cool. I met
Hmm.
Jen online 2 years ago. She's in Malaysia. I'm in America, Japan,
Hmm.
sometimes Jamaica, wherever I am. And for 2 years, we've been supporting each other's gym goals and content and stuff. We've like you and I, we've never met in person, but I know her pretty well. She knows me. We talk outside of podcasting and stuff,
Yeah,
and it's really nice in a world where there's so much hate online and racism and sexualization and all these hate comments you get.
yeah.
So it's nice to have that genuine, I believe, genuine, authentic connection with people.
Yeah, yeah. It makes and like and I mean it's a good segue as we talk about all the stuff that we're doing. It's not really about the stuff that we're doing as much as what it means in terms of in a world that can easily find the negative. So yeah, that's a good point. Like I said, we've been friends for quite a while now, and yet to meet in person, although
And
we're
Steve keeps
geographic.
moving. He's in
When you
England. He's in
I'll
Jamaica. I'm in
stop.
Japan. I'm in Mexico. We're
They-
always somewhere else.
but when you are, but when you're back home for a spell, I'm sure you'll be close. You'll be as close as you've ever been in time and space to me. So I think it's definitely the card. It's on the
But
cards.
I
It's
mean,
on the
you're already
cards
dressed for
for.
Malaysia. You got the athletic wear on. You probably were
I,
jump roping earlier, breathing in that dry air. You said, I don't know, it's dry in Jamaica now. It's a dry spell.
yeah. It's a dry spell. We're looking for some
In
rain. Oh,
fact, you said you keep cadence every time the lizards nearby they expel
the
their
little gill
Dilophosaurus
thing.
gill. That's when you jump, and then when they
And
close, you bring it back around, and then when they open, you jump. So that's how you keep your cadence. I remember
that's
you telling me that, and I
that,
think that's really cool. That's like in tune with nature to a whole new level that I just really respect you for.
Thank you. That's totally. Please don't take that seriously, anybody. The cadence of a lizard's neck is not really conducive to jump roping. If they catch,
I'm
if
putting
they
that
catch
on a
in time,
t-shirt. I'm making you a
yeah,
t-shirt that says that. And it's gonna be like a lizard jumping rope or something.
lizard neck, yeah.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's important. It's important to see the platforms and use the tools for good, and not and it's too easy to make it
Like the
about
virtual water cooler live
trolling.
every Wednesday. Come join us.
Yes, we're here. For the last few weeks, it's just been me and whiskey, and I enjoy whiskey's company.
There's a song called Just Me and the Whiskey.
Just me.
Well, and by that I mean there's like at least 20
There's
country songs that are
as
themed
at
around Just
least
Me and the Whiskey. At least
yes,
20. There's
yeah,
probably
me.
50.
I like that. Me and the whiskey,
Me
not
and the
just a
whiskey.
whiskey.
And then there's my favorite, me and the whiskey in my pickup truck. Hopefully not in that order, but
There you go. And the dog. And speaking. I was just thinking of your whiskey shot. How's she doing?
oh, she is doing amazing. I'm excited to go back and see her. This is a big year for her. She's turning 10 in a few months, and that's kind
What
of scary. That's really scary.
midlife? Is that
But
midlife or she's now a senior? She's got a senior card. I don't know how old the dog lives for. And it looks like we've frozen on Mr. Whiskey here. I hope the
no,
recording's
no,
still
no. I'm
going
not
on.
frozen.
Oh,
You're the one
oh,
glitching
delayed.
out.
Okay. One of us is. I was just asking whether 10 is what? Where does 10 years in a
That's
Chihuahua,
old.
right?
That's old.
Okay.
Chihuahuas, a lot of them are, well, some of them range between 12 and 17. It
Hmm.
really depends. She's so small and fragile, but I think she's fine. Now that I'm moving to a new place, I'm gonna
Yeah.
get her set up with the vet and everything, do the annual work. I just had to
Okay.
save about $20,000 for that. So
Oh wow. Wow.
yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
sarcastic, but vet bills are
Okay.
extremely
But dog.
expensive.
I was gonna say. I mean, that's
No,
not
they are.
that's not too far.
A lot of places just to walk into the vet, it's between 70 and $200 just to get in the
Yeah.
building. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's
it's better
that's
get
that's
you should
crazy.
just don't get a dog, get a lizard. You can jump rope. You can not, you don't have to go to the vet as much. If you do go to
That's
the
very
vet, it's
true.
even more expensive because not everyone's a lizard expert. Um,
That's very
yeah.
true. I'm just gonna stick a quick invite into LinkedIn. So it's his live stream into LinkedIn and Facebook group. So just come and join
Camille
us.
said she's listening.
Hi,
So
Camille.
give a shout out to her.
If you got
Camille, you're supposed to be a guest on the One to One Thing podcast, but I don't think Steve has sent you the invitation. So,
that's well, you should share. You should share the link. You should share the link with her.
last time I sent her the your podcast, she said this guy hasn't posted anything in like 8 months.
Well, that's the podcast. That's the
Yeah.
podcast. And kudos to you for jumping on and being a recent podcast re-guest. I also had
Yeah. I
put,
saw you
I
dropped a
put,
new episode. I think Sandra is that the
yeah, so
one?
yeah, Sandra Nice.
I
It
haven't
was a
watched
lot
it
of,
yet, but I saw you drop the YouTube. You actually posted a social media clip compilation of all the guests you've had except for me. I actually
no,
commented on that. I
you
commented on that.
did.
I saw Will Otero. I didn't see me. I saw
Uh,
Yayoi. I didn't see me.
and
You were playing favorites.
no, I'm not playing. I'm not playing favorites at all.
I swear it was
I left
AI
you.
generated. AI randomly selected the best episodes to highlight. I had nothing to do with it.
I'm not blaming AI either. It was a deliberate choice. I knew that I'd get more
A
of a rise
deliberate
out.
choice.
Yeah, I'd get more of a rise out of you for your absence rather than
Mm.
your presence.
I
So I
wouldn't have
figured
commented. I was more likely to comment if I wasn't there, which would boost you in the algorithm more.
absolutely, because it's the I don't
Well, you were
that's the
wrong on
psycho.
that. Because if I was there, I was going to be like, wow, what a handsome, incredible guest. What does that guy know? I had a comment planned as soon as I saw me. Or
Okay.
when I was going to see me, I had pre-planned comments for like, wow, look at that guy's ornamentally decorated, limited edition Godzilla Happy Coat from Awaji Island. I wonder, he must be very cool. I was ready. I was ready to how do I
Yep.
say this? The younger generation calls it, I was ready to glaze myself. I don't know.
Frost
Don't you?
yourself, glaze yourself.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah. I
what
don't
that
know if I
is.
should say
Yeah,
that. Maybe that it has a lot of
yeah.
meanings, but I'm meaning
I'm
in the praise myself.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Well, I
Praise and
knew.
glaze.
I knew that I would. It would be. Yeah, it would be more. It'd be more of a talking point.
We're blowing over the most important topic. Steve, did you ever get to have your vegan ice cream on the beach for Jamaican Independence Day?
No, no. I did do a clip of our day, and it was a great day with some friends and my mum, and we went down to Ocherias, and there's a sort of a public beach there, and it was busy. It was busier than I've ever seen it.
You
Obviously
should have
for
just paid for a
Independence Day,
hotel to have a private beach.
but we didn't. Yeah, it's a bit extravagant, and yeah, we had a fun day, but we didn't end up going. We didn't end up going over. We got some food, enjoyed that, but we didn't end up going to my ice cream place. But I'm looking forward to. I'll probably be heading over there in the next week or so. So yeah,
Who was
it'd be fun.
Jamaica freeing themselves from? I know, well, you said it took like 4 years for the freedom, but the emancipation, what was that from? Was that from
British.
England or so you are walking around with the colonizer accent on Jamaican Independence Day, probably giving people like PTSD. They probably think you're like a, what do they call it? Like you're an inside plant. You're like, he looks like us, but he doesn't talk like us. He's, like
I know it's interesting. I don't know. I mean, it makes you wonder what were the first few years of American independence like? What was the first 20 years of American independence like for people who were the colonizers that were still there?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess America's fight for their independence was a war, as I understand it.
Right.
So there was much more tension between the colonizers and the colonized,
And it was
whereas
against their
the UK,
own people too. So it's a weirder, more awkward tension there as well.
yeah, yeah. So yeah,
And there's people who went back to England and then they came back and it's like, what happened to the place?
well,
Like,
yeah. I mean,
it's strange.
Yeah, I mean 1960s, 1962 versus 17, whatever, 1770s or whatever it was. 1776, I guess, was is your independence. So um
250.
yeah, 250. So it is a different
That's the only
time in
reason
terms
I
of,
know the exact date.
yeah, in terms of getting around. You know, you can't just sort of hop on a plane. And I think the transition of power, or the release of power, was a different, a different mindset. And technically, we're not completely independent. The king is still the head of state for Jamaica, which
The king where?
with
Of England?
the King of England, yeah, King George is
Is in
still the
charge of
head of
Jamaica.
is still the head of state for Jamaica.
What
And I
does
may be
that
saying that
mean when you say
wrong,
head of state?
and that's interesting. What that means? It means that a lot of our laws are governed by the UK still. Um, there is an argument to fight for
Well,
being
yeah.
a republic, as opposed to um, sort of there's a governor general, there's the king,
Mm,
governor general, and then there's the government of Jamaica.
mm.
And that sort of hierarchy still means that there's lots of deep hooks
Right. Right.
Of the British Empire still in Jamaica, and probably other Caribbean countries that have been released as well. So
So you're the
um,
middleman. It's like if there was a war between angels and devils, you're a half angel, half devil. So you're like the
no,
middle.
it's nothing.
Here's the
It's
thing.
nothing
Here's what
like
I would
that.
say. I think, as politely as I can say this, why should some jerk across the ocean running his own country be in charge of my nation's affairs? And I'm not saying jerk in the term if that's his character, but like you understand what I'm saying? Like he's so busy with everything going on in England, then he's got this country many miles, it's probably more than 5 or 10 miles away, uh, trying to do their
Yeah,
own thing. And I can only imagine. I had issues when people from California for Big Navy would come to our ship and say XYZ ABC. And it's like, well, you've never been here except for once a year. You do a checkup. You have no
mm,
idea who the people here are. You it's so superficial. It's like you're in charge of
yeah,
our lives, but you don't know a single one of us.
yeah,
And it's like, how can you be an effective leader not knowing any of your people? How can you be an
yeah.
effective leader not knowing even the environment that they're in? I mean, I can imagine that the King of England knows what Jamaica. Who knows if he's even been in Jamaica? I don't know. Maybe, but it's
Yeah.
like
I mean,
if he hasn't even been there, it's like, how is he running the country? And is the country
vi-
in his head truthful to what it actually is, or does he have some picture of Jamaica that's stereotypical? Has
well,
he
let
ever
me
left
stop you there.
Jamaica and felt like I got to go back to Jamaica?
No,
I'm
no,
gonna
don't go
make
there.
a
Don't go
mistake.
there. Let me take it. I mean, you touched on something. You've touched on something that I was reading about this week that was really insightful. At lots of levels. There's a thing called the availability bias,
Mm,
and
mm,
it speaks to the bias that we have for things that are readily available. We think that things that are available to us and are necessarily available to everyone. So somebody who is a billionaire,
right,
multimillionaire, has things available to them that people who are not in that
right,
status stratus don't have that availability to them.
correct.
So somebody giving advice from a different availability lens
Mm,
to somebody else can actually be either at worst maligning somebody or gaslighting somebody,
mm,
or just being misinformed about what really happens. Sure, King George has been to Jamaica. Maybe came as Prince George. Came came as Philip. Came as Prince Philip. Um, but that doesn't mean a royal member, a royal family member coming to Jamaica is not the same as you walking down the streets of Algiers.
yeah, yeah,
So
100%.
what we have is where we have a dangerous dynamic whereby we are we are looking to the guidance of people who don't have the same availability bias as we do, or the same availability lens, because bias makes you feel like you're just using it to you're using it you're using you're using it to kind of I said gaslight, or put down, or just give a different
Yeah.
impression to something. So that's really important, and it happens at it happens at all levels. You've got politicians who are trying to speak the voice of the people, but
And they've
the
never
people
lived
never.
as the people. They grew up
Well,
maybe
the
privileged and what do they call it? Spoon fed and all that stuff.
yeah, but even if they, I mean, they're not around the people enough for them to get a sense of the availability lens that those people are going through.
Yeah.
And there's another element to that in terms of someone was talking about the sort of the power of peer groups. We have a strong affinity. It's the serotonin, that hormone, that the love hormone, that gives us that sense of connection. Um, and we see that serotonin is a good thing because it engenders a mother to their offspring, or parents
Mm.
to their children. It engenders a sense of social connection, which are great qualities to have. The shadow side of that is that it induces a sense of us and them,
Mm.
because there has to be an us, and if there's an us in that connection, there has to be a them, where people are not connecting, or not belonging, or not in your group. And what happens is you care less about those in your group than you do the ones in your group. And if you combine that with an availability bias and a peer group bias, then it's very difficult for people outside of your circle to go advise people in a different circle as to what they could be doing,
So
because you
this
don't
ties
have that
back
lived
to what we were
experience.
talking about. About you said you were gonna quote Jamaica great again. You said you were gonna run for a political position over Jamaica. You said you wanted to be Jamaican things great again. And so I think king, whoever the king in England is, should alleviate their power and pass it on to you. You will take over because you are both an Englishman and a Jamaican. You have seen both sides of
Mm.
availability. You have been part of both peer groups. You are that in between man. You were made for a time like this.
Thank you. Little Esther reference there. Good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
For those in the right peer group,
Yeah.
they'll get
Yeah.
that one. But well, I mean, as tongue in cheek as you're saying that, I mean, that is the hardest. That is the hardest path to travel, because one has to be aware. I guess being aware of one's biases is one step in that direction.
And you're
Actually
biased because you're vegan, so you're gonna
addressing.
change. You're gonna get rid of the
There
jerk
you
chicken.
go.
We can't vote for you. This
Ah,
man says we're not gonna have jerk chicken. We're
would
gonna have jerk salad.
would jerk jerk tofu, jerk
Anyone who
tofu.
works in the office, you have to use chopsticks to eat your food.
That's,
I don't know
so
if I can trust
so
all your policy changes, Steve.
so yeah. I
Everyone
mean,
in the country is off every Wednesday to join the Restream Cooler.
join the
That's a good policy. Everyone has 1 hour off from work to participate actively. And if you aren't actively participating, you lose your day's salary.
You see, no, that's fascist. That's very fascistic,
Is
and
that is that blackmail?
is
Is that
that, yeah, you don't.
bribery?
That's an availability bias issue right there. You've got to be able to do this stuff. But yeah, it is. It's always a case. I mean, we
You
the
should forget
water.
it. Just stick to stand-up comedy, Steve. I think you're
Yes,
better as a comedian than a
well,
politician.
let's segue to you sharing
Oh, yeah.
the insights to your cross cultural,
My
multi
English-led, bilingual
bilingual.
stand-up comedy, and
Yeah.
I actually ran everything through AI to calculate numbers because I was very curious about
Numbers in terms of what numbers?
so about accuracy to the pre-script to the live performance. Now, obviously, I wrote some stuff ahead of time, like main
Hmm.
topics I was going to cover. The thing I had to practice the most was Japanese. And I ran numbers. So how many Japanese words did I use during the performance? Not repetition, not counting
Yeah,
multiple instances, but how many unique words? Over 50.
discrete numbers. Wow.
Over 50. So that was something I didn't, and I will say I didn't feel like manually counting that. So I had AI run the diagnostics, just
Yeah.
to pull the numbers because I was curious. Over 50 words. Many words were repeated multiple times.
Yeah.
Compared to the original transcript that I submitted, 85% accuracy. I forgot a few major things. Well, not really major things. I forgot one major thing and two jokes that were more personal for me, that were more niche
Hmm.
references to anime shows. But I wanted those because I was going to make social media clips of them to reach those audiences.
Right.
So like my notes were specific things I wanted to integrate for post-production use. But here's the key. Compared to my notes, 43.5% additional content made during the live performance, over 3,000 words added. So that's how much was improvised and made on the spot,
Cool. A third.
mathematically.
A third.
43.5%. That's almost a
Oh,
half.
sorry. Oh, I thought you
Yeah,
said 30. I thought
43.5%
43.
additional content, over
Wow.
3,000 words added. So that was interesting. What went wrong? We'll start with that. I'm not a very graceful person to myself, so we'll start with that. The camera setup. The camera angles weren't too bad. I wasn't able to get them both at the same height. So it is a little strange watching the transitions because one's at a
Hmm.
lower upward angle. Oh,
Hmm.
Camille says, "Hi, Steve," all caps.
Aha.
She had
Bless
to
you.
she
Good
had
to
to
see you,
hop off
Camille.
to do work, so she
All right.
hasn't been with
That's
us yet.
cool.
Yeah. She said, so the camera angles, I had my phone on one side and Zoom on the other.
Hmm.
Zoom wasn't as good video quality,
Yeah.
especially when it came to movements. It kind of, you get like the
Yeah.
silhouette. So,
Ghosting. Yeah.
but I still wanted two camera angles. I tried to get a professional cameraman. Everyone said $500, and that was ridiculous for what I wanted. For the full package, for bilingual subtitles, for photos, videos, video editing, travel, everything, maybe $500 was fine. But I said, I just want raw video footage. I'll do the subtitles myself. I did the subtitles myself. It took me over 14 hours to do
Mm.
them. I color coded them. I had to make sure they were right. Um, it's hard. You got to go word by word.
Yeah.
You don't want the whole sentence on the bottom,
Yeah.
reading it ahead of time, especially with comedy. You don't want to spoil stuff ahead of time.
Yes. Yeah.
So it took a long time, but people were saying $500, $500. I said, no, I just want raw camera footage, no photos, no subtitle editing, no video editing, no audio editing. I have the skills to do it myself. I just need the high quality camera. And no one would budget. No one wanted to do it unless it was full package. Then one company reaches out to me, 1,700 USD, $1,700 for it. I said, are you out of your mind? I said, when everyone else is pitching 500 and you come out of nowhere with 1,700, it was absolutely ridiculous for 1 hour video footage. Absolutely
Mm.
not. I recorded it on my phone in Zoom. It's not the highest quality, but it
Well, you
definitely
captured it.
isn't worth it.
Yeah.
$1,700. That's what's so interesting about freelancing. Same with, voice acting and jobs that you can get freelancers for. The price range can vary. And
I get it. Yeah.
yeah,
So
and
you
that
so you got
it was,
you got the
I
video.
had
You
to
got the
laugh.
cameras. Yeah.
Yeah. So the camera angles weren't the best. And a hair fell out of my hat down my forehead 20 minutes in. I don't know how that happened. And that's just a personal annoyance. See, you wouldn't have had that issue, Steve, so
No.
yeah. Oh, and
Nothing.
if you did, it might be comedic. It would be
It
like,
would
what
be
is that?
very comedic. What is that on his forehead that dropped
Yeah,
out from his
is it a
head?
piece of seaweed, or is he
Yeah.
Benjamin Buttoning? If he's in Japan, probably. You get younger the longer you're here. But
Yeah.
the camera angles, that's just a technical thing. But real specifically, I was standing too close to them. I had to move them forward to make room for people to sit because
Mm,
we had extra guests, and then I wanted to be close to the crowd. But in doing so, there was many times where I was clipped off the top of the camera, especially my hat. And so thank goodness I had the two different angles so that when I was too
you
close
could
to one camera, I could go back.
flip. Yeah.
Um, I had to perform in front of the front door, and we did have two people show up halfway through the show. And I should have addressed it. I should have turned it into a joke and paused. I tried to pretend like it wasn't happening because, like, well, be a professional doesn't crack under pressure. Just keep performing.
You go in, yeah.
But everyone was distracted watching the people. They knew that I was kind of stressed about it because they didn't just walk in. The guy couldn't find a name on the ticket sheet to let them in because it was an older gentleman who couldn't buy them online. So he gave me
Right.
cash, and I bought his tickets online under one of a name, a different name, and it was this whole confusion. And I should have addressed it. I should have been like, wow, I guess I'm performing in the Philippines. We got Filipino time over here. I thought this was Japan or something, right? Or addressed it. But
Yeah. Make it, yeah.
or
Address it
hey,
some way.
should we charge these? Hey, should we charge them double price? They're interrupting the show. Should we? Hey, who wants to throw them out? I should have done something. But at the moment, I was like, just pretend like it doesn't bother you. That
Right.
shows professional character that you can keep performing despite distractions. But a lot of people wanted crowd work, and I didn't want to try crowd work in a nation. Two people there didn't speak English. A couple people there were speaking English as a second language. For me, having never done crowd work before, it didn't feel like the time. It felt intimidating to try it there. However, all the Americans I did know. I had podcast guested with two of them. One of them I have met multiple times at a conference. The other Americans
Mm.
spoke English, and they wanted crowd work. They tried to engage with me, but I was so focused on, I did crowd work before the show and after the show. But once that official time hit, I just felt like, all right, we got to do what we
Deliver.
came to do.
Yeah.
And the thing is, people need the crowd work to feel engaged. It feels more personal. We
It's
were
intimate.
we were a small venue. We were all
Yeah.
right next to each other. It was a very intimate environment, and we were all going to do karaoke afterward. And so I feel like I did mess up with that. But for me, it was just like, we got to do the show. We got to focus on the material. I don't want to lose
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
And so I should have structured it where I was doing jokes, did some crowd work, or did crowd work from the material I was doing. I only did it one time. I was making fun of Americans wearing tank tops and short shorts year round, and there was a guy in really small, like teal shorts in the crowd, and I was like, that guy, right, like there. And yeah, I spoke a lot faster than when because I practiced some of the content to time it because I needed to know, can I go an hour? Whether I improv, if I can do at least an hour with what I have pre-planned to talk about, then plus the improvisation, I'll make an hour. But
Gotcha.
performing live, it was like listening to a podcast on 1.5 times speed. So it doesn't take an hour. It takes like 45 minutes.
Yeah, and then what? Then what next?
Right. Which I could have
Yeah.
made. I had extra content just in case. I prepared to do an hour and a half in case someone said encore.
Yeah.
We insist on this, right? And I mean, I was improvising as well. But on the other hand, a Japanese woman who was the wife of Matthew Yard, who I interviewed on my podcast, she came up to me and said, I speak English as a second language. And I wanted you to know you spoke slow enough that I could translate and understand. And I found the content relatable. And that meant a lot to me that English second language person said that I spoke slow enough for them to translate. Because I was worried American people couldn't understand me, let alone people who speak English
Do
as
you
a second
speak
language.
English? So
Especially the people who are 60 plus and speak English. Respectfully, it takes them even just a normal conversation with them. You got to
yes.
be really slow and pronunciative and stuff. So everyone said it was wonderful. It was funny. They liked it. Yet it was silence for a whole hour. And I want to accredit some of that to Japanese culture in the sense that when I've gone to the movies here, they don't laugh out loud. They don't cry out loud. It's very like it's weird being in a movie in Japan. I've been to three. I've been to three movies so far, and it's just been
Mm.
silent, and it's
Wow.
strange. And I like silence minus me. I don't care. I went and saw Moana. I was like, that's funny.
Oh.
I'm a laugher, but so part of me was like, maybe it's Japanese culture, but it was a lot of people smiling, people chuckling,
Mm.
people laughing inside. The microphone was also set up more so for me than for them. And it's also based on the crowd size. It was a much smaller crowd than if you watch a professional comedian who has 100 people compared
Mhm.
to, and that's been something that always bothers me is there have been certain times where I performed better, but had a smaller crowd. So listening to the YouTube video, it doesn't sound as funny. But my hope is that you're not focused on other people laughing. You laugh if you
Look.
find it funny watching a YouTube
Yeah.
video.
Yeah.
Um, and if I'm hoping people are watching and they're like, what a terrible crowd. This stuff is hilarious. Why didn't they laugh? It was funny. The Japanese pastor from my church who went, he was the loudest laugher out of everyone, but he was also front row. So he was right in front of me.
Yeah.
And I thought it was funny because I was worried some of my stuff, it wasn't
Bit
crude or
edgy.
suggestive. But I do talk about a mishap. We went to the wrong type of maid cafe by accident, my friend and I. And now they found it funny. His wife is an American who's lived here for a couple of decades. She found a lot of the stuff funny. Um, it wasn't really an anime watching crowd. And granted, I don't really watch anime much at all anymore, but the show was themed around that. And you could tell who watched anime or not because there
Mm.
was two individuals, every anime line, they understood exactly what I meant. And the rest of the
Mhm.
people were just like, kind of missed it. And a lot of people watching it now online who are in my network, who do watch anime are like, wow, this stuff is gold. And it's like, it's, I was niche specific on purpose because of the show, the theme of the show, and where we're at. But I guess the crowd that showed up was not the crowd that it was made for,
That's fine.
and but it wasn't like I was gonna. But everything else was about being an American in Japan, which should have been
Yeah.
relatable, or being a foreigner in Japan in general.
So what were
Um,
your highlight? What were your highest? What were the high points for you?
for me, number one, I had less than 3 weeks notice to put together an entire comedy show to promote it in a country without a network. My
Wow.
network online was not of use because everyone online could say, hey, this looks awesome. I can't
Hmm.
go,
Yeah.
So the fact that I had limited network, limited time, and the big turn point was we had a week until the show, and the venue owner said we haven't sold a single ticket yet. And that really
Mm.
crushed me. But instead of saying, hey, I'm going to drop this idea, she said, let's keep pushing. I'm so excited to see the show. And she was very enthusiastic and encouraging.
Cool.
When I was thinking about quitting, I guess for her, it didn't cost her money. Other than printing the posters, I was the one promoting, going to events, traveling. And to
Hmm.
her, whether one person showed up or no one showed up, she still got the ticket money and, people buying drinks and stuff afterward, hopefully. So,
Right.
but for me, it was different. For me, if only one or zero people showed up, that to the venue, it's like that's a letdown. For me, it's like a very personal letdown.
Yeah.
It's not a business thing. But I managed. The next day, I sold like 11 tickets. By
Wow.
going out there and stuff. But it was her encouragement that really kept me uplifted because I thought about just saying, forget it.
Yeah.
Not that it was a bad idea, but that the timeline was unrealistic. 3 weeks is short notice to promote an event. The location was what killed the most people from coming. It was in Yokosuka all the way down here. So everyone in
Mm.
Tokyo and Yokohama and stuff said that's too far. It's a 1.5, 2 hour train ride. It's
Wow.
that night. If I don't get the train home, How am I going to get home? If I had
Yeah.
done it in Tokyo, probably could have had, 50 to 100 people easily. It was the location was very down. People said, "Oh, just get the whole military base to show up." I didn't have access to that community. What I regret the most, which I would encourage everyone to research about, is the online platform that had our tickets had promotional pay options that I didn't see until the day before, where I could have paid. It was only $12 to
Oh,
send anyone who had been to a comedy show through that event before would have gotten my event sent to them.
oh, okay.
That was exactly what I needed in a country where I had no online or physical network and stuff. Everyone who's ever been to a comedy show in this area before or nearby,
Mm,
come check out
yeah.
this event. It only would have
Yeah.
cost me $12. Um, so I regret that, but I've been trying to give myself a pat on the back saying, hey, in less than 3 weeks, you created a comedy show, you made over an hour's worth of material, you spent time putting stuff together, you did the subtitles yourself, you
Hmm.
networked, you improvised. I mean, an hour is most people couldn't do 3 to 5 minutes.
You're right.
And I'm not saying that, the whole hour was great, but it was certainly a learning experience. There's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff I wish I had done better. The dramatization of some moments, the pauses. I always feel like I can't pause or take my time with some stuff on stage. Like, I don't know, like people are going to run out of the crowd and stuff or interrupt. But, there's a lot of moments where the pause was necessary to emphasize the joke. And I
Yeah.
know practicing it, I have always been more dramatic practicing my comedy than the actual performance.
Delivered. Yeah.
And it's gotten better with each time I've performed. I've only performed once a year for the past 3 years. This is the
Wow.
first time I've performed twice in a year. So this is my fourth time ever performing, and it was an hour instead of my most ever before was 5 minutes. So I'm trying to give myself grace in the sense of this was something everyone's like it's such a big accomplishment, but to me, the accomplishment for me doesn't lie in it being done. It relies in it being done to the standard that I wanted, which I know isn't how I should look at it necessarily, except for future growth. Or future growth and the event success should be separate, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I can, I can look at future growth so much more importantly that I diminish all the value of the event itself. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yes,
Yeah.
it makes a lot, and it makes a lot of sense. I'm reading between the lines in terms of what you did. If you took this out of the context of a comedy show, but put it in the context of some event or some achievement that you wanted to take on,
Yeah.
with all the things in your with all the things going in your favor, of going from a concept to actually delivery in 3 weeks would still be a stretch. If you were doing this in your backyard, in a well populated city, with an audience that are naturally English speaking, that are even an audience that have got connections with you,
Mm.
a 3 week turnaround for an event would still be a major event to accomplishment to do.
Yeah.
Ironically, you would have set different standards on doing that in America or in a
Right.
place where you're familiar, and you'd probably still feel the same way you do now, having
Yeah.
done it in a totally foreign place with second and third English speaking audience,
Yeah.
in a back town in Japan. So the irony is that you still, if you don't feel like a winner now, what would need to change to make you feel like a winner? And the event wouldn't have to change to make you feel like a winner. You would have to change to make you feel like a winner.
Mm. Mm.
You know.
Preach, Steve.
So
BPE.
well, it's true, and like I said, I mean, it's good. It's it's funny you choose humor, because humor is one of those things that can be really vulnerable and really personal and really nuance filled, in sort of very kind of um it's stylized and niche, and it's got all these things around it. it's not showing up and just doing a gym class, or showing up and doing even a, a positive self development talk. And those sorts of things that can be very generic in the terms that everyone wants to feel happy. So I will say some happy things, and I'll probably land with a good chunk of the audience, because I know innately people want to be happy. So I'll just go there. Humor is very much about taking someone on a journey and showing them the shift.
Mm.
And when they see that, when they get that shift, the punchline isn't where you thought you were going to land. It's somewhere else, and you go, "Oh,
Yeah.
that's a shift." And then you go, "Oh, I'm going to laugh at that shift because I didn't expect it,"
Mm.
or "Oh, I'm going to cringe at that shift because it's not tasteful, or it's not my."
And I was limited in types of humor because you're talking about different types of humor.
Mm,
I couldn't do play on words with an English second language
right.
audience. I did actually, well, I guess I did do a little bit, but it was on the basis of making fun of English. And
Mm,
so
mm,
people, but I had to use like a common example
yeah.
that because I used the word hot, right? It can be a compliment. You look hot. Hot could
Mm,
be the temperature of food in terms of spiciness. Hot could also mean the weather outside. And so that's a common word that someone learning English would be like, I thought it meant this and that, or if I
yeah.
did there, and there, right? So,
Yeah.
but I was limited in play on words. Some
Yeah.
anything more complicated than that isn't common. And I had to
Yes.
think, and like even speaking to Japanese, I had to be like, would the common person who doesn't speak Japanese, who has been to Japan on vacation or is living here, knows what I'm saying? It can't be complicated Japanese where, and if it was, I explained what it meant. If
Yeah.
I, but I, you don't want to have to explain too many times
Everything.
what it means. But being so, you have to integrate the bilingual aspect in a certain way. One positive thing is I had two people who didn't speak English show up. One of them just to support me, and that showed a
Oh,
lot about connection in people. Steve, if you said you were going to go do a show, and you were like, it's 100% Jamaican dialect, you're not going to understand a word. I would still go. I would pretend to laugh when everyone else was laughing, or I would
mm,
go and not laugh and just go to support you, you know?
yeah.
And it showed a lot that sometimes, it's not just about the understanding of the event, it's about who are you supporting. And so
Hmm.
that meant a lot. It meant a lot to me. My older friend, and we talked before about the loneliness epidemic in Japan for elderly Japanese men.
Mm,
And on one good side, like if you find one as a foreigner and you're like, hey, you want to go to lunch? And most of the time, if they're divorced, their kids don't talk to them and they work all day, let's go. And then they ask for your phone number, and every day they're like, let's go get lunch, let's go get ice cream. So it's really nice. And I met this gentleman at church. We had gone out. And when he found out about the comedy show, he took the flyers from me. He was walking around the street like, here, you got to go to the, and it was so nice. Well, he showed up. He said he was going to go with his daughter, but they were going to be late. And he showed up with this woman, and I was talking to her. Hey, how are you doing? Are you his daughter? She wasn't really answering me. She was just like, and doesn't speak English. I told him, I said, why did you
mm,
tell me that? He goes, this isn't my daughter. He goes, I got lost looking for the venue. And I asked this, she was randomly on the street. I said, can you help me find this place? And she said, sure. He goes, my daughter didn't show up. Do you want her extra ticket? And she said, okay. And she didn't speak any English. So she's sitting at the comedy show with some old guy she's never met before, watching some cowboy in a happy coat dance around, talk about New Jersey where she's never been before. Um, so it's just, but that's what the show was about: human
it will.
connection and global unity despite barriers and language, and it was so awesome. We sang karaoke afterward. We sang in English, we sang in Japanese. It was just such a great time. And her and I connected through a translator about she works in mental health in the hospital. So I
Oh,
was telling her what I do and stuff like that. And then but we were all teasing him. You got a hot date, because she was in her 20s or 30s, and we were joking like, I should get lost more often. I need to get lost and everything. And
getting more
well,
material.
he walks into church with her, and I said, "No way!" And she's never been before, and she came, and I couldn't believe it.
Oh, that is so
Um,
cool.
so yeah, it was really cool in that sense, and it's interesting seeing how the jokes land. So I did a whole section making fun of New Jersey, my buddy Chris Milson, shout out to him. He does men's mental health work, and he's been on my podcast before I've been on his. He loved it. He was dying. He had lived in New Jersey, so he found it especially funny. Meanwhile, Tian Wong, she's seen some animes and she was loving my section about quoting anime and about this and that. So it's interesting seeing different people. Some people said, hey, this joke was terrible. Other people said this was the best joke of the set. So it's
Right.
very interesting. And Steve, I mean, if you watch it, I know you're probably going to say, I really like this part. I didn't find this as funny. And it might be completely different from everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's very
And
interesting.
and
What do you say?
that's
It's very subjective.
yeah, and again, there are so many parallels. I mean, I'm got a hat on, but I would take it off to you yeah, giving for actually taking on the arena of comedy. I mean, you're in public
Yeah.
speaking
I did not
spaces. You're a
choose this,
pod.
by the way. I want everyone to
Well,
know I was at a
uh,
conference and people said there's an open mic. You should do it. You look like you, because people's thing was you've got a cowboy hat on, you've got a distinguished look. You should really be up there on stage doing comedy because of your distinguished look and because it'll
mm,
make our social media look better. So I went up there with 1 day's preparation, having never done it before. And I got asked on a podcast last night, like, why did you choose to do humor? And I was like, I didn't really. Like, it chose me.
wow.
And I'm not saying we have a healthy, loving relationship, but we're not entirely codependent either, And I guess people's thing is like, why did you continue to pursue it? And it wasn't me. People would invite me onto podcasts and stuff. And that's the question they would ask. You're a comedian, you performed comedy before. What role does it play in mental health and veterans and this and that? And people
Mm,
just kept asking me and then saying, hey, obviously you're going to be performing at this event. We're going to go see you. And it's like, okay, I guess I'll sign up to do comedy now. And it's really, I don't want to say I'm living other people's expectations. Like, I chose to create this comedy opportunity and pursue it. And I have gotten more passionate about it, but it was always natural. When I was joking and cheering up people in the military who were suicidal, depressed, or anxious, it wasn't like I said, humor is going to be the most effective medium and vice to create an outcome. It was just
mhm,
naturally what it resulted in.
yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting journey, and I know people
Yeah.
think it's very planned. But I mean, Steve, I assume you didn't. When your mom birthed you, you weren't holding a microphone in hand, and she's like, "He's going to be a podcaster." I know it.
I
Your
said,
first birthday party, you just got like a Riverside subscription. It wasn't like that. They didn't even have
I,
computers when you were born, I don't think.
they didn't have computers when I was born. Well, no, they did. They did.
But it was,
But
8 feet across, 10 feet
yes,
tall.
it was in a room this size. But
Yeah.
actually, I'm making a note to myself to dig out.
A
My
picture of
mom
you
has
with
some
your
of
first
my
computer.
no, my mom has some of my old school reports, they're in a box somewhere here, which is one of the nice things about being here. I'm amazed. I mean, she's been here for
Mama
13
Rai, pull out
years.
those soccer pictures. We want to see more of those.
Yeah,
Back when
but I mean,
Steve had hair.
yeah, she's got my school report,
Well,
and
if you
it
don't mind
was
me,
I was going to say it was one of those whereby, if Steve applied himself, he could do really well.
uh,
And if he stopped, if he Steve is really a really bright student, but he talks too much. And it's like, there you go. So I will actually dig out and I'll
that's
do a
funny.
post with one of my school reports. But to your point about humor choosing you, and then you accepting being chosen. I mean,
With every reason
that's
to
a
reject, with every reason to
yes.
say no, I've never done this. Why would I do this? Um, and it just goes back to like the other day, someone questioned me, why did you do a 10K while in Japan? And my response was, why not? Because, quote, we should enjoy our time in another nation, so we shouldn't be doing 10Ks, or it's hot out, or this or that. And the question really is like, why not? Why would I make excuses to not do it. I could have made excuses. I could have said, I don't speak English. Yeah, I
You
do.
don't.
I don't.
You just,
I
you
don't
know.
speak Japanese. Therefore, I'm not going to try an event that's only in Japanese. And did I have a mishap? Yes, I ran 12.5K. But did I also, was I in the
You're
top
not.
charts by
You're not
still
letting
running
that
more?
go. Yeah, you're not letting
But
that
like,
one go.
we can make so many excuses. And I think like
Yeah,
if someone asked Steve right now, Coach Wright, we'd love to feature you on the news. You might say, well, I don't feel like I have the verbiage yet or the
yeah,
articulation yet, or I don't think I fit the part of looking like I belong on a news show. Like we can make so many excuses. And it's really
yes,
sad how many people, same with publishing a book. So many people now, what's your excuse? Oh, I'm not good at grammar, or I'm not. So many people say, I don't think I could write a book because I don't think I could write it in chronological order. Just rearrange it when you're done. I don't know how to
yeah,
tell you, or write it out of chronological order. One of the best-selling books of all time, Slaughterhouse Five. It's written past, present, and future randomly.
all
You
over.
know,
Yeah,
you can make it work. And people are like, well, I don't know. It's not natural. What are you talking about? Memory flow is not chronological. Every time I talk
yeah.
to Steve Wright, it's not like, let me go from A to Z. It's I'm at Q and then there's a W and then there's 1, 2, and 3. I don't know how those got there. And you
And
know,
there's an orange. There's an orange in there. Orange,
there's an
red,
orange, there's
purple.
an apple, there's a banana.
Stop. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot there's a lot in there. I mean, it's funny. It's funny how in one breath you'd say, why not? And then when you've done it, there's I can say we both have that. I observe the rumination element on something. I ruminate too. Something I do something and I look at it objectively afterwards. I think, oh
I
man, I
only
could have
jump
done it.
roped 49 jumps, but I was aiming
Yeah,
for 50.
and I
But
could have done it.
everyone else jump roped 0 times today. So I guess it's
Doesn't
okay.
matter. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. I'm still missing the one that didn't. That was
Because
the
the
one that didn't
lizard was
happen.
it exhaled 50 times. It didn't exhale 40 times. It had the thing 50
It did
times.
its thing, yeah. So that element of rumination it's something that I have to watch out for it. I have to watch out for the tipping point of rumination being like it becomes now a slog, and it becomes the downer on an
Mm,
achievement versus the feedback
yeah.
on an achievement. If it's feedback on an achievement, then
Well, I don't let it
recounting something.
discourage me. That I
Yeah,
think that's the important part is I am critical, but I've always gone into the next performance with it as guidance. And
mm,
I think that's important, knowing yourself, knowing how critical you can be to yourself without discouraging or, like you said, hindering yourself. But
yeah,
what's interesting is in my interview with Tian Wang, where we flexed off, we talked about, I was talking about how I've really attached my value, I guess my personal value to the numbers on the scale, where if I weigh
mm,
less than 140 pounds, I really don't, I feel like crap. Where if I'm 140 on the dot or higher, I feel great. We were talking about weight gain and weight loss. And I
mm,
said, the thing is, if Tien had called me crying, Mr. Whiskey, I'm heartbroken. I don't want to live anymore. I was 50 pounds and now I weigh 49 pounds. I would have told her, Tien, it's just a pound. You probably took an extra heavy number 2 today, right? Just go eat some rice or beans or something. Well, don't eat
put that
beans;
pound
that'll
back.
make it worse. But like go eat a quarter pounder McWhopper or whatever they got, and
Yeah.
that's what I would tell her. But myself, if I lost the 1 pound, I'd be like,
Ah,
you're terrible. You didn't even go to the bathroom today. So what's your excuse? Like we are
yeah,
so much more graceful to others. If we were at the gym and Steve only jump rope 49 times instead of 50, I'd say, don't worry about it, or just do the extra one. But
yeah,
myself, I'd be like, what the heck? Why am I such a terrible jump roper?
yeah,
In general, with me
yeah.
personally, if I did 49 instead of 50, I'd be like, well, now we're going to do 200 because, I got to stay hard. But
There you go. There
but
you
we
go.
are so much more critical to ourselves.
Yes, yes, yeah. And I guess, and it's interesting because that brings up the other dynamic of people, of sometimes people um would come to somebody's aid to lift them out of that critical nature.
Mm.
And we can sometimes be self-critical, in order to foster that response from somebody else. I'm
Oh,
critical
you're
of
talking about
myself.
being like a pick me girl or attention. Are you talking about like,
Yes.
oh, look at
I
me,
think,
I can't reach
yeah.
the top
Woe
shelf?
is me. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's an example. That's a prime example.
I
Um,
know somebody who told me that story the other day. They couldn't read something. They couldn't read something on the top shelf. They're looking around for someone to help them. Which is, I guess, if you're physically challenged to get something, you know, or I mean, I have hip issues, and so
from
getting
back in the
low.
day, Steve Wright brought himself out. Wait.
So that's
I've never.
another story for another week. We're at the hour point, so thank you very much for joining us at the Virtual Water
Steve,
Cooler.
I'm telling you, this hip story is worth the time. It's a quick one. I think it was my I had just turned 21, and me and a bunch of guys were out celebrating and stuff, and we're at this rooftop bar, and you know, there's a lot of bachelorette parties in Savannah, Georgia, and there's a bachelorette group, there's a bride and stuff, and I was with all these people I had met online, never, like, just met them online to meet up for my birthday. Don't know any of them. Have texted them maybe like once in my life. We all met up to celebrate because I had just moved there. I had just moved there a
Mm.
few like weeks beforehand. And this guy's like, the one guy, Coast Guard guy, he comes up to me. He's like, all right, there was a bachelorette party going on on the rooftop bar. He's like, I need you and this Marine who was standing next to me to come be backup. I told them that I work for like some news channel. I'm an investigative journalist or whatever, and I'm asking them some questions. But I'm kind of bad at coming up with questions, so I need you guys to help me come up with some questions.
Mm.
And I was like, this is such a terrible idea. Why didn't you just tell them, we're a bunch of young bachelors looking for a good time? Just be honest. Why did you tell them you made up this elaborate story? So we
Yeah.
go over, and there's all, you know, a bunch of skinny bachelorettes jumping around. And then there's one woman who's almost 400 pounds. And they're like, that's your one, Mr. Whiskey, here. And they push me at her. And I was like, okay. They're like, you gotta take one for the team. And I was like, okay. So I'm talking to her, and I was like, she's like, what are these questions? And I was like, well, it's a very simple, common one. If you could fight anyone in the world, who would it be and why? And she goes, well, am I at my prime? I said, yeah, whatever you imagine your peak or prime is, that's the shape you're in. And she's like, John Cena, you can't see me, you know. I said, well, why? Why? That's an interesting choice. She goes, because of the just the fame and coolness of taking down John Cena. He's such a legend. And I said, well, how are
Mm.
you going to take him down if you can't see him? She's like, that's such a good point. And then she goes, I have to ask you the same question. Who would you fight? And I said, well, I would fight God. If I could challenge anyone, it would be God in a physical form, just as he wrestled Jacob all night. But I don't want to injure my hip like, you know, he did to Jacob,
Mm.
because, you know, I got good hips. And she goes, you do have good hips. I want to see them in motion. Show me a little something right now so I can take you home. I said, holy smoke. I'm the best investigative journalist up here on this rooftop bar. But I said, no. I said,
So
no,
I
I don't
can
think
take
so.
you home.
She's like, let me see them right now. And then she's getting the other bachelorettes. This guy's going to move his hips. I was like, stop. This is
You
my
fit
first
in,
time
you can
ever.
fit in my pocket. You fit in my pocket. I'll take you home with me.
Yeah. It's so funny because I redirect a lot of things to the Bible, and she somehow managed to unredirect my
Director.
sciatic nerve into some love making,
Ah,
some jumping rope and laser
gyrating.
push-ups. Yeah. Um,
Some gyrations.
But I will
But
say, I started my comedy show with and ended it with different proverbs. And the one I started with, I don't actually know the numbers, it's fine. But it's a proverb that says, a crushed spirit dries up the
dries the
bones, but a
bones.
cheerful word is good medicine. And I started with that. It was important to me that everyone knew why we were there, and that, you know, it is biblical that laughter and joy is directly tied to our physical health. And I
Yes.
also believe God has a sense of humor. Not everyone believes that. I personally believe it. I've seen it. Sometimes I think I'm the punchline of his jokes and I don't like it, but you're pointing at me
Sense of
for.
humor right there.
Yeah.
No,
But
that's beautiful. That's, I mean,
yeah.
yeah,
Have you ever been
that's
on a
beautiful.
rooftop bar asking investigative questions to help your friends? It wasn't even for me. It was the Coast Guard guy wanted to I was the distraction. Yet
Yeah,
I completed the mission theoretically. I didn't go home or anything. I didn't do that because I was like,
right.
no, 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 no. I was just here as like the wingman. This
Yeah,
this operation is not working. But when someone who says I can't ask any questions brings someone who does podcasting for a living, I mean, yeah, it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
you go to talk to some women at the gym, and you're the guy who's never lifted before, and you bring some guy who goes every day. What do you think is going to happen? They're
yeah.
going to start talking about lateral raises, and you're going to be like, "Is that like
Was it?
lateral, like on a map? Like, what do you mean?" They're like, "No, this thing over here that you don't have, little D." Yeah, that's
No, no, that's so cool. But yeah, like you said, to bring it to start it with that. What was the proverb you ended with?
well, it was tying into the joke story I talked about. I said in Proverbs, a lot of wisdom. It says, "A friend loves through all times, but through adversity there is a brother." And so
Hmm.
what the Bible didn't tell us is that we're all gonna have that one friend. You know what I mean? Like, don't name names, but y'all got that one friend. You know, you got you shaking your head, and through times of adversity, you wish you weren't there with them. You know. So I talked about my friend who um he's the one who he wanted to go to the maid cafe, and he guided us to one in an alleyway basement through a Reddit forum posted 6 years ago.
Oh
And
dear.
we get there, and there's a sign in English that says, "We love American military men." And I was like, dude, we cannot go
Can't
here.
go
We
over
gotta
there.
leave. Hey, he's called me every time he's at a new port call. He's like, okay, so in this country, if you find a place with Christmas lights, it means you can get some of that Guam, you know, some Guam goodies. But in Vietnam, he goes, everywhere has Christmas lights. So you got to look for the special VIP designate. He's that guy. He calls me up. He's like, what do you think? And I always say, well, spiritually, I don't think you should participate in any of this. I said, but just be safe. And he goes, that's the thing. The condom fell off. And then she's like, can we continue anyway? And I was like, I hope you didn't say yes. He's like, that's why I'm calling you. I said,
He's
I
that
told you
friend.
not to go. I
That
told you
friend.
I said the only time you should be looking for Christmas lights is driving with your family on Christmas Eve. I said, but I
On
love
that
him because
note,
he's the reason I can do comedy. My dad called me. He's recently divorced. His dating stories are going into some comedy soon. He called me today, son. This woman says she's going to buy lottery tickets, and depending how many of them she wins, she'll go on a date with me or not. This stuff is comedy gold.
there you go. There you go.
And one day I'm gonna get Steve Wright drunk and get all those stories for reuse. I just won't include
Oh,
his name.
I just, yeah, just don't include my name, and we'll change accents and locations
Yeah,
and
I'll be
all of
like,
the
this guy, not Steve
all
Wright. This is Steve
redacted.
Wrong. He's over spelled WRONG, not wrong RONG.
But anyway, but yeah, that's good. It's good insight. I'm really pleased. I saw the post, and I was thinking of you on the night, and yeah, there's part of me that says you show up, it's going to be it's going to work. And
Yeah,
even despite things that don't go 100%, there's massive wins in there. So I hope people get to watch the show,
yeah. You
check out
included.
Mr. Whiskey's
Leave a
stuff.
like, a comment on YouTube, share.
I will watch it. And I'll just give a
Maybe
quick
you
shout
and your
out
mom
to.
can get some popcorn. You know, get some vegan ice cream.
I'll
Make
have
it
to
out of it.
explain to her what you're talking about. That would be third language, third culture.
Third language.
But
I'm speaking Japanese. You're speaking England English.
English
She's in Jamaica.
in
Yeah.
Jamaica speaking patois, so I'm gonna convert
Yeah.
it again. But what was going to say? Yes. So yeah, definitely check it out on YouTube. And check out the show with Sandra. I will have your show up there on YouTube. I'm going to be backfilling some of the podcasts into the YouTube channel for the one
Yeah,
to one
I'm gonna
thing.
watch that episode with Sandra.
Yeah,
It's on my
I'm
QUE.
excited. I'm excited for that because I'm not sure how to. I'll probably curate and edit some of that because it's audio already, and I'll just move that into video.
Mm.
And I'm looking, and I'm putting it out there. Reach out to me if you wanna, if you've been a guest and you want to come back and do an update, a rechat, or if you're not sure what this whole thing is about, and why Steve want to have conversations with me. We cover all sorts of stuff, and just jumping on the water cooler. It's no harm, no foul. You don't need to know me to get to know me. I'm a friend you haven't met yet. So come join
To
us.
have a one-to-one thing with, yeah. Well, you ought to interview Justin about his pumpkin farming. You got to catch up with Andrew Michael
It's
Holton about whatever he's doing. He posted a
life.
college picture or something today. It was pretty funny. Yeah.
Okay, I'll
You
catch
got to
up with
catch
them
up with
both.
everyone.
But Mr. Whiskey, get some sleep.
Nope. You're my first of 7 calls tonight in Africa,
Oh,
England, America, and Jamaica. So
oh,
yeah, I took a little nap today after I found my kimono.
all right, there you go. Well, enjoy. And if there's any mutual guests that you wanna jump onto the one-to-one thing, let's make that happen too. Alrighty, so we're here. Barring technical issues or me being abducted by
The lizard
Jamaican the Jamaican lizards. We'll be back
Yeah.
here next week.
that don't want you to be the political overlord of Jamaica.
There you go. There you go. Lots going on. All right. Thanks again. We'll catch you again next time, Mr. Whiskey.
Sayonara.
Sayonara. Sayonara. Mr. Whiskey. All right. Take care, everyone.